Welcome to Geeks Corner. I'm Mr. Daps.
I'm Katie.
I'm Jenny.
Yes, you are. How is everybody tonight?
Good.
She's like,
Good.
I'm nodding my head.
I was just
All
going
right.
to nod. I don't know.
It's a wonderfully cool evening here in Southern California, which is very nice because it was warm this weekend. But it was very warm. But we have got a lot to cover tonight from the news that came out of the Walt Disney Company's earnings call for the third fiscal quarter earlier today. Muppets Now. What else are we talking about? Pixar's new film, Luca. All of that fun stuff. And if you would like to join into the conversation, Jenny, what should they do right now?
They should go to Twitter and they can hashtag Geeks Corner, or they can go to this YouTube video and comment live. And occasionally, Mr. Daps gets fancy.
And I already see people commenting.
Your comment.
So thank you.
I was waiting for you to do it,
I didn't have one that I was just jumping at. Like the Merry Penguin said, "Hey, everybody." Does that count? There you go.
Hi.
Yes. So we're glad that you guys are all here tonight, and it is going to be a fun night. But let's start things off with I'm going to mix up the order a little bit just to start things off with news, which is that Disney had its earnings call this afternoon, and what came out of it is we learned that Disney did not make as much money as they probably hoped at the beginning of the year, but it was no surprise.
No way.
So their stocks really haven't been hurt today. But the parks alone lost, was it $3.5 billion?
Yes.
Close to, was it $5 billion total that they've lost this quarter? Lots of money going not where they wanted. And it was interesting because I thought when Bob Chapek kind of shared a little bit about the trends going on at Walt Disney World, where people aren't showing up as much as they thought they were going to, but they're still barely making money, it sounds like, whatever that means. And 50% of the people going to Walt Disney World right now are from out of state.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys catch that?
That was interesting to me, yeah.
Because those are the kinds of things you don't usually hear from Disney.
Yeah. That to me is concerning. That 50% of people are coming from out of state. Because people shouldn't be traveling for theme parks right now. I'm not a huge people should be going to theme parks anyway right now. It just, the whole idea of it kind of makes me uncomfortable. But then the fact that 50% of the guests are traveling from out of state, that's a whole other contamination issue. That's a travel issue. That's a safety issue when they get back home. That to me was super concerning. I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, you see that there are people that are living their life and doing the dream, it's cool. But it's I don't know. I'm making a lot of noises because that. To give you a frame of reference, and I'll bring this up. We went to Taste of Calico on Sunday. Someone got too close to me and I cried. That's how well I'm doing about COVID. Someone literally got within 6 feet of me and I cried. And I know everyone's gonna be like, oh, surprise, Katie cried. But no, legit, I was so stressed out and I was like, please stay 6 feet away from me. But yeah. I'm just freaked out because, we're in the middle of a global pandemic.
Jenny, what do you think about
it? I agree with Katie. It is kind of concerning, but I don't think it's surprising. I think people so desperately want to go. One of my friends went, and he was somebody who quarantined before it was a rule.
Yeah.
Before it was legit. So I was it kind of shocked me that he went, but also at the same time did not.
Well, and that is the interesting thing is most of the people that I know that have gone or are going in the near future have quarantined beforehand and basically have been some of the people that haven't gone anywhere for the last 4.5 months. And now they're picking up and going to Florida. And I think it's very interesting to see that trend happening. And part of me is like, well, I guess they're not going to be carrying anything there and they're not going to see anybody when they get back. So it's really them that they're that they're risking, but it's a risk still. And to me, the risk isn't in the park. The risk is in the flying to get to the park. It's in fact, I was talking to a friend today, and we were talking about, like, you know what? It looks like they're doing a good job at point A. They look like certain airlines are doing a pretty good job at point B, but getting there in Orlando at that airport for that whatever hour and a half till you get your baggage and go to the Magic Kingdom or wherever it is you're going, that's the point that concerns me, just looking at social media. So it'll be, I mean, and if it's concerning all of us in its conversations, and we're in this as close as, you know, I think we're more attuned to what's going on than most people. And if it's concerning us and it's concerning most of the people I'm seeing cover this, I'm not surprised that the flights are a hang up for people going to Walt Disney World, which is what they're attributing the lower numbers for. I'm moderately surprised that 50% of people still are coming from out of state, but I do wonder how many of those are surrounding states like Georgia.
That's what I was thinking.
And
like South Carolina, and like the people that can drive down pretty easily.
Even from the Midwest, it's not a super long drive. Like, we've got friends that live in St. Louis that do the drive. And I
was going to say, one of the podcasts I listened to, one of the hosts grew up in Illinois, and their parents, for some reason, insisted on driving down, even though it was a ridiculously long drive.
Yeah. And you know, I think we all done crazy fun things like that. It's an adventure that you remember, and this is a very unique time in the parks. And you know, it's kind of the risk and reward question you have to ask yourself as you're looking at this. And honestly, that's up to each person. I'm never going to tell them they should or they shouldn't, because at the end of the day, it's up to them. But it's definitely huge question marks as we're looking at this. I'm like, huh. And it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I've noticed that the numbers have been trending the right direction in Orange County in Florida for the last 2 weeks, but that doesn't mean the rest of the state's doing super well. So it'll be interesting to see what these numbers do in the future. And it looks like Disneyland Paris and Shanghai Disneyland are doing really well in terms of their phased reopenings. And so I'm curious to see how that progresses as well. One of the other big things that came out of the earnings call today was the news that Mulan will be sent straight to Disney Plus if you want to spend basically $30 to see it. And I was doing some research before this, and one member of the media reached out to their press rep, and I don't really cover movies that much, so I'm not completely connected in this realm. But according to them, once you've got it, you've got it. So it's not a rental for 24 hours or something. It would be you spend $30 and then you have Mulan, which to me is that makes me intrigued. But let's say we don't know that's for sure, because I can't guarantee that yet, because it hasn't come straight from Disney's mouth. What do you think of $30 for a first run movie, we'll call it?
Okay. Here's the thing. If you say your household has multiple people in it, if all of you were to buy a movie ticket to go see this in theaters, this is cheaper. If you are going to watch this alone, I don't feel, if you do get to keep it forever, then the cost is justified. But if it's a rental and you are the only person watching it, I don't feel the cost is justified. But this does not mean people should throw parties to watch it.
I agree completely.
Because again, as I said earlier, we are in a global pandemic. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that information into the world. So don't call up your 10 closest buddies and say, we're all going to watch Mulan tonight. Come bring a snack, you know?
Okay. Jenny, what do you think?
I'm not a super movie person to begin with. Like, you know, it's pretty rare that you even get me to go to the movies with you guys, like for the big things. Like, hey, Jenny, want to get? I'm like, no.
We always invite you because we love you.
You do, and it's very much appreciated. But for the most part, I'm like, no, I'm probably working. But so for me, like, even if I did get to keep it forever, but it was just me, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I would wait until, like, because it'd be cheaper to buy later. Well,
and it'll be interesting because it is going to, wherever there are theaters at opening, it's going to. I don't know if that includes the drive-in theaters, which I think could be very interesting, because that would be super cool.
I would love to see it at a drive-in.
Yeah, and I actually think 30 is probably a reasonable price from I'm sitting in an office at Disney somewhere trying to figure out what we should do to release this film, because you really can't go, like, $19.99 seems underselling it to me, because you know, if we go to the theater, it's between what, $12.50 or $12.95 and $16. So that's a ticket and a half, and that just doesn't seem reasonable. I'm going to assume they went with the assumption that at least two people would be watching a movie together. Like, just that would be normal. And so then 30 makes exact sense, because that's basically 2 tickets in Southern California theaters, which corporate Disney is at. And I still think they're going to take a major loss off of what they potentially could have gotten in the major, in the theaters. One, for the people that go back and see it more than once. Now, if you can watch it more than once, if that works out, like, that's not going to make them extra money that way. It could make them extra money if people sign up for Disney Plus and then spend the extra $30, I guess. If they stick with Disney Plus and you get that monthly fee coming in of $6.99 until it adds up and makes it up. But it'll be interesting to see how they quantify it for writing it up or down at the end of the day. The other thing I thought was interesting is they flat out got asked about future movies, and Bob Chapek said, well, this is for this movie and we'll see what happens in the future, which I think was a very smart way that wasn't so smart maybe to just be like, we're deciding this right now and who knows what's going to come in the future, because I think nobody can predict right now with the way everything's gone.
Everyone's flying by the seat of their pants. Like,
oh, totally.
No one has any idea what's going to happen today, tomorrow, like next week. And so I think that even if they had a plan for what's going to happen, like say say Black Widow, if they had a plan for what's going to happen to Black Widow, I think that even if they announced it and said this was going to happen to Black Widow, something may happen in like 3 weeks and they're like, scratch that.
Do you think this means that they think Black Widow has bigger potential?
Didn't they delay Black Widow to later this year?
Yeah, but do you think the fact that they're like, I don't know that theaters will be open by then, but do you think the fact that, I don't know.
I think it's just because did Mulan get a delay date? I don't remember.
It got 2 delay dates and then they gave up on it.
Yeah, so I think it's just because they had gotten past it far enough. They were like, we just need to do something. I think that
But
Black
it was
Widow,
the same month as Black Widow. Is why I'm finding it, like, that's where I'm kind of going. I think they think they're going to make more money off Black Widow than Mulan, since they're kind of sacrificing Mulan to Disney
which
Plus.
Also, like, super bums me out, because Mulan deserves a really good theatrical release, and Mulan, like, Black Widow is great. But Mulan has been important representation since the 90s, and I think it was going to be a really important live action remake, and I think a lot of people are really looking forward to it. And things like this worry me because I feel like sometimes they're like, well, we didn't see the profit come back that we wanted, so it wasn't a justifiable market, and that's just not the case. Like, there is a global pandemic.
Well, I actually think the global pandemic will completely save Mulan from ever having that conversation, because no matter what happens, they're going to say, we actually can't quantify this because there was a global pandemic. We didn't do the marketing we would have done. It didn't get released the way it was going to be released, and we just had to get it out there because people really want it, and the representation thing. And I think all of those together is probably part of the reason they're throwing it out there. I think Black Widow is getting released still in the theaters, and it's exactly right, Mary Penguin, because it's part of the MCU, and it's not just about one movie. It's about the bigger follow-ups, and they want to. I think it's. Go ahead.
I was also going to say that I don't think that Marvel would let them do this. Like,
I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, though, Bob Chapek gets to decide.
Oh, I'm sure that Bob Chapek does, but I'm sure that if they said, "Hey, this is our plan," Marvel would say, "No, please don't."
Yeah, I don't think they have that much power. I think Bob Iger at the end of the day is probably the one that's playing this behind the scenes. I cannot imagine them saying no to him. Maybe, okay. But
I'm just saying that Marvel is very particular about their cinematic universe, and I'm sure it wouldn't be Marvel saying no. It would be a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
can we just call them real quick and find out on the show?
Yeah, I'll call Kevin up right now.
Let's call the Bobs. Let's call Kevin. Let's do a little discussion.
Let's get on we can have 10 people on here.
Yeah.
So I feel like we should just.
I think you're absolutely correct.
Did you email them the link? Did they get it?
I'll get right on that.
Okay,
I texted it, but no, I think at the end of the day, it's all about the numbers, and it's trying to make lemonade out of a lot of lemons right now, and whatever that algorithm is, I'm sure there was a very interesting set of meetings that came to this decision. All right, well, let's move on. This weekend, Muppets Now came to Disney Plus, and we did a live stream of us watching it for the very first time with Katie and I. And then Jenny watched it last night. Is that what you did?
I did. I watched it at like 2:30 a.m.
That's the best time to watch the Muppets, isn't it?
Which is like my prime time for watching something and paying attention to it. 2:30 a.m.
What'd you think of it?
I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more than I anticipated. Like, I kind of liked that it was very like current with the whole like starting off with like, oh yeah, like I text everyone that like you're putting out the show, and it was like all these like fun windows. It kind of reminded me of like Dear Evan Hansen with like the scrolling like social media like on the stage and stuff like that. I like how it was kind of very fast paced and just kind of went from segment to segment. And I did not expect it to be that. I thought it was going to be more linear, I don't know, official like late night talk show, like where it was like, and now we'll do this segment, and now we'll do this segment. But it was really like, here's my angry email that you put out my show without my approval, and
like, which was great.
Piggy gets mad,
as she should. Katie, what'd you think about it?
I really enjoyed it. I think that, and I talked about this on the live stream, because I watched the Muppets at 10 in the morning, which is. It's a lot for early morning, and I hadn't had coffee and I hadn't eaten yet. So I was like, oh, okay.
That a lot of you yelling. Liked it at all.
True, you got a point. But I really enjoyed it. I think it is the true spirit of the Muppets, but it did have that quality sometimes that happens with improv where you're like, this scene could have ended like 2 minutes ago and it's still going. But that's just the nature of improv. And it's sometimes you just need to wrap up the scene, but the bits just kind of keep going and you have to tell the story to get to the end. But overall, like I keep saying, not as a global pandemic, but it's the spirit of the Muppets. It's nice to see the Muppets being the Muppets again. Because I feel like a lot of times we do see the Muppets, but they're not like true to their character.
Or they're playing somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
no, I completely agree. I thought it was a lot of fun. It felt like a classic Muppet personalities, or the classic Muppet personalities pushed forward to 2020 or 2019 when they filmed it. And it was interesting to realize that it was improv for one, but also directed and recorded a year ago, which I'm assuming there are parts of the improv, probably quite a bit of them, that we ended up not seeing.
Oh,
And so I'm curious how that all played out and worked out. I thought, for the most part, really well done. Loved Swedish Chef. I thought that was one of the funniest things because it was like,
my favorite.
Let's take Swedish Chef.
My favorite.
Let's take Swedish Chef and put him on the Food Network, which I think needs to happen next. Like, I think he's been a guest star once or twice for something, but I want to see like Swedish Chef Food Network. Yeah, totally.
But
that
also
would be
Chopped.
great. chopped. He would just
Or
show up with his
also
cleaver
Guys
and start
Grocery
chopping
Games.
everything. That would be really funny. We got a question from Busman 101. Who is your favorite Muppet? I think this is definitely worth throwing in real quick.
Yes, push the
Jenny,
thing.
would you go first, please?
I have two. But if I had to choose one, my favorite Muppet is the Swedish Chef.
Good choice. And
because
Katie?
food.
That's true.
Mine, I have like a core favorite, but my core favorite is Beaker.
Excellent choice.
I go back and forth.
Like
I'm also Beaker.
Bad things happen. I'm just like all the time.
There you go.
And Mr. Daps, who could your favorite be?
I like Kermit.
Oh, say it isn't so.
Anybody remember when Kermit used to be on the Geeks Corner set? There was a painting for quite some time. That is true. So are you guys looking forward to the next episode of Muppets Now?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm curious to see what other segments there could be.
I think it's cool.
Or who else?
Right? The segment that Kermit did this week, the one where he interviews, I'm forgetting what it was called, but different Muppets are hosting that in different weeks. So I think Miss Piggy does one. Okay. I saw Fozzie's doing one, and I'm intrigued by that, and I think that'll be a lot of fun. All right. Luca was announced by Pixar this last week as its June release for 2021. And we learned a little bit about what it's going to be. I will read very quickly the Luca description, and then we'll talk about it. Does that sound good? Yeah. So it says, set in a beautiful seaside town on the Italian Riviera, the original animated feature is a coming-of-age story about one young boy experiencing an unforgettable summer filled with gelato, pasta, and endless scooter rides. Luca shares these adventures with his newfound best friend, but all the fun is threatened by a deeply held secret. He is a sea monster from another world just below the water's surface. That almost sounded like the Twilight Zone.
It does.
Like,
as I was reading it, I'm like, but he held a secret.
Right. Then you
in the Twilight Zone. Yeah, exactly. And then there's some artwork that we've got up on the site that's actually quite lovely. And what did you guys think as you saw this, read this, all of that jazz?
You should have seen my face when I read the description. I was like, gelato, pasta, cool.
Sounds
and then I was
good,
like, I'm sorry, what? Sea monster? It really, I was alone reading it. I went, but I love that it is directed by the brains behind La Luna, because I think La Luna is a beautiful, beautiful short.
Yep.
And so I think that beauty is going to shine through. And then it is produced by the brains behind Lava and Cars 3, which I also really enjoy.
Lots of heart.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you could have written anything Pixar and I would have been like, great. Because I also like Cars too. So sue me. And I am really, really excited. And I think that with Italy as a backdrop, it's just going to be beautiful. You throw a sea monster in, you throw a cryptid, I'm in.
Jenny.
I love gelato. And I love pasta and adventures. And I'm not sure how I feel about sea monsters. It could have been another sea
what it's going to look like.
I'm picturing it's going to look like a dinosaur.
Okay.
Like a sea snake or something, but dinosaur.
A serpent.
I don't know why.
Serpenty thing. Okay.
I also just as we've discussed before, I love dinosaurs. So I am the opposite of Katie. I love dinosaurs. So I am ready to see whatever that looks like. But if the sea monster does not eat gelato, I'm going to be disappointed.
Well, what if the sea monster eats gelato as a little boy? Because I have a feeling it's like when the sea monster is on land, he just looks like a normal little boy or whatever. And then when they go swimming, suddenly there's this transformation.
I would love to see a Pete's Dragon-esque adventure.
Yes.
That'd be cute.
With gelato.
With gelato and pasta.
I do think Katie was completely right, though, reading the description, because I will admit, when I was posting the article, I was reading it, and I'm like, this sounds very sweet, but I don't know how compelling it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, where is this going? It's not hooking me. Like, I love the setting. I'm all for this. This just sounds very generic. And they're like, oh, sea monster. Okay, I'm intrigued now. And do you think, my big question is, do you think we're going to see what the sea monster looks like in the trailers at any point, or will we have to wait till we're in the theater?
I would love if they made us wait.
I think they should make us wait.
I do too. Like, traditionally, that's how Pixar would do things, but now I'm like, I mean, they could change it. Everything's changed now.
I think that because they have said that there's a sea monster, I think that they're going to put it in the trailers. But I personally would love if we do see it in the trailers, we only see like glimpses or
shadow.
Whatever. We never see the whole
like
thing.
Swims by like really quick through a scene, or like
like
the Steven Spielberg approach.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's like Jaws, how
with Jaws music, and
because the shark didn't work, so they had to get creative, and they're like, menacing shark.
Well, and I feel like they could take some really creative approaches to marketing this, because you could go for that. Like, you could probably, with this movie, make trailers for the Italian love story, that really flowery summer movie, or you could do the really spooky Jaws type thing, or you could do a little Twilight Zone type thing. Like, you could come at it from many different approaches, and nobody's gonna have a clue what the movie's really about, which is what I think Pixar's marketing does at its best, when they're on their A game. And Bailey's asking, what if it's Nessie's Italian cousin? I would love that. Whoops, I put Katie up instead of Bailey. But I think that would be the coolest thing ever, is if it set up a movie with the Loch Ness monster in the future. I mean, if you're going to have a sequel, you might as well have it with the Loch Ness monster, right?
I agree.
Then do we tie it to like Brave as well? Like,
yeah, it's all connected.
Perfect. Sold.
I think that would be a brilliant plan. So with the very, very little that we know about it right now, we've got Soul coming up hopefully later this year. And then we have now Luca. Of the two, which one are you more looking forward to at this moment?
Soul.
I am too.
Yeah.
Other than the food.
Oh, because there's no gelato and pasta in Soul.
Yeah, like.
Do you think there's gonna be gnocchi in Soul, or in Luca?
Maybe, but I
hope
feel
there's
like
gnocchi in both, because I'm just craving gnocchi now. But
I feel like
it would be good.
A great opportunity for them to rebrand some of the Paradise Gardens eatery over at Disney California Adventure, because you could totally just lean into the Italian thing, make it a Luca's place, whatever you want to call it, and like, we'll be happy to eat there. You could really make it gorgeous. And
okay, ready? Okay, listen, ready? Mm-hmm. You're not ready for this?
No.
So imagine, okay, Paradise Gardens, the Sicily, Sicily, yeah. Imagine, okay, say they serve Italian food, say they specialize in, I don't know, pizza, okay? They call it, get ready for it, Pizza Mau Mau.
Mm-hmm.
I miss DCA 1.0. Let me have this.
You can have it, but you're probably
Pizza's
the only
Italian.
One. Yes.
Okay.
Kind
Pizza
of.
Mau Mau. I get that that's not Italian, but
I actually have a feeling there's going to be some really cute name of the village or something, or
for sure.
Like, there's going to be some connection point where it's like, oh, I mean, I just feel like if at this point, if I were in charge, I would be thinking, what is an easy way to bring Luca into the park? You can bring characters in over at the gazebo, then super easy, and you just make that whole corner Luca themed.
I agree. I also think that is the corner of the park that's like desperately needing theming, because it was kind of good And then Pixar Pier happened, and so now it's like this weird cutoff of like, where am I? This is technically Paradise Gardens Park, which fit better in Paradise Pier, blah, 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 whatever. I think that they'll use the chance to retheme it.
Well, and they could really just connect it to Pixar Pier. Like they could make it a new neighborhood in Pixar Pier, and then it still connects to the rest of the park. And I think that'd be cool. It got so quiet. I thought my internet froze. No, it didn't. We just got really quiet.
I think it was because you guys were so stunned at Pizza Mau Mau.
We were very stunned. All right. We are running out of time, though. So, Katie, what should they do?
Go to dapsmagic.com. Check out all the Disney and geek news as it happens. While you're there, you can click on a little button that says Geeks Corner. You can find all of our shenanigans for the past decade.
Soon, yes. Jenny, what else should they be doing?
You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram. On Twitter, we're fancier. We are the Geeks Corner. On Instagram, we are just Geeks Corner. Why? I don't know. Why not? It's because we like to be weird.
And you've got some fun stuff happening over there. So
yeah,
make sure
we have Wacky Wednesdays. You know, like find out weird facts that these two are going to say about themselves. Mm-hmm. They don't even know what they're going to say.
We never do.
Ever.
That is absolutely true. And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss any of the videos that we have going up. I believe this week we will be having a new video of Living with the Land going up, along with maybe I discovered another animazement video that might have to go up. And
wow.
We're always looking for the best animazement video to animaze you guys. But that is all the time we have for you this week. So we will see you around the corner.
Bye.